Feels good to finally make a video. We had our Legacy Cup and I had a wonderful time at the event. Huge shout out to everyone that showed up. I am incredibly happy with how the event turned out. We were able to get Peter Van Allen for commentary. He currently is a part of Vision, and we have a lot of cool ideas that we want to do for the future. So everyone, please stay tuned onto the Facebook page, because right now we're in communications with a lot of stores and potentially states to host a bunch of events across America. But this is the Overlord deck that I used going into the event. I wasn't really confident going into the event with Luard because I was expecting Mega Colony. I was expecting Order Colony to be there and heavily represent a majority of the event. There were like only 2, I think, in the entire like 36 player count. So indirectly, I dodged this, and while Luard might have not been that bad of a pick, I really didn't have practice for the event, so I chose this so that I wouldn't need to think. Honestly, it kind of worked out well for me. I ended up going X2, losing to Kevin Zhao, Nightmare Dolls, the guy who won the entire event, and to Baldwin, who high-rolled me with Gurgowitz, so like, bless your soul, man. My starter was Conroe, but I also main decked the original Conroe as well. I don't know which is the better one to use for your starter. Since we were playing best of 3, I had the option to swap these out if I wanted to like really make this my starter, but I never saw much of a reason to. Getting the card draw and the quick shield off of this so that I could discard it off of like Heat Shot or something like that felt very, very important to me. And this might be a bad mentality, but main decking this one Conroe indirectly acted as my 4th copy for all my other grade 1s. So if I ever drew this, it was nice since this would allow me to get into anything else, but I'd have to do a lot more testing for me to see if this is worth it to use as the starter, because people could damage an eye or just pop this, and I was personally afraid of this getting cradled. That was the main reason why I didn't want to play this, because I was expecting people to play a cradle package if I was going to face that matchup. For grade 3s, I did a 2-2 split on the X versus V and the G version. I originally wanted to do a 3-1 split, but I was personally really afraid of damage checking the 1X. So I was fortunate enough to only misride like, I think twice during the entire event. I think that was really it. But once again, having a grade 1 Conroe to search for any additional copies, or rather get me the right Overlord, was incredibly important. Also, you can use grade 1 Conroe and reveal the Heal Guardians so that you can end up searching for an Overlord, since it specifies just a grade 3. It doesn't require you to specifically show an Overlord. So that only came up 1 game, but it was super interesting. Alright, the important thing to note is that this, you go into turn 3 and you ride Striken so that you're able to get the 3 crit and you can swing on them and make them drop cards from their hands. This is your turn 4, since you'll be able to get a triple swing, twin drive on a force 2 and just hard pressure them out. And usually that's it. Turn 3 this, turn 4 this if you have it, and then usually you'll stride in case you need to, just to like draw cards. Shout out to Mike for letting me borrow all the high rarity cards in this deck, because I didn't really have the pieces for it at the time. But 8 copies of the End, just so that I don't see a reason to not max this out, since I'm personally afraid of like damage checking them or just running out of them, because outside of Legion, I don't have any other deck recycling, and there's only like 2 copies of the Legion. So I can only max like recycle 8 cards, and I'm only really going to see it like once. For grade 2 is incredibly important. Strike in your most broken thing. If you see this and you have V, the X, you could win on turn 3, because that ended up happening multiple times where I just rode this over, had the force 2, and anything else in my main deck, like the Decats and the Calamity Towers, I used so that I would be able to rip more cards out of their hand and either completely like shut off their preceding turn or just kill them outright. Because occasionally I just turn 3 bursted people and they couldn't do anything about it. But Striking was incredible and absolutely insane. Playset of this Ingrode, I don't know how to pronounce it. But he's your top 7 searcher for the X. Since it just searches for the name, you can add the V or the Legion, which is very important. But this is very nice. Also, it's a 25k attacker when your Vanguard swings 3 times if you have 4 less in hand. So this will activate due to the VX's skill. I wasn't really sure what else I wanted to do for the grade 2s, but I went with Ducat because people would play Overdress Nahalem, and I understand why. It's not that it's a bad card, it's that I felt I valued this more than the 5k off of Nahalem, since if you activate Nahalem once, it gives 5k to Vanguard, and that 5k is going to be used 3 times due to the triple swing. But I felt that using this would have caused them to drop more shield than what would have been just that 5k. I completely understand the arguments for and against this versus Nahalem. It's just that I also wanted this to just blow people out, especially during the Legion turns. Since this combined with Calamity Tower, which is an absolute problem for people, and that was the whole point. If occasionally if I opened up both of these, turn 3, and I just have the nuts, then yeah, I'm dropping both of these, and I'm just going in. Because there was one game where I had triple Calamity Tower, and I just had to go in on my opponent, because there wasn't going to be a next turn. But it's not like this is the better option. This was just my preference for what I had in mind. I wanted to go all in on the turn 3 kill potential, since I wasn't trying to play a longer game, since I knew that I wasn't going to be like out-skilling people, because there were better decks in the format and better players who had more premium testing than I did. The Overdress PG, since the X's skill counts your hand as 0, so you can just 1-card guard with these, and it's pretty nice, because you're always on a low hand size anyways, because you're constantly discarding for the X. Triple Heat Shot. This is where the grade 1 or the grade 0 counter idea came in play, where this acts as like my 4th copy of this. But this came up a lot of times as a Vanguard ride, so I could discard the Quick Shield, and I can attempt to dig more or dig further into my deck so I can see like any other combo pieces that I need. So this was super nice. I played 3 of that, 4 Calamity Tower, and then I played 3 of the grade 1 Conroe. I was really going back and forth on the ratios for this and ratios for like any of the grade 1s and 2s, because I didn't know what to run. This treated me pretty well, since I was just trying to go for like the turn 3 play, if anything, and I really wanted to max out on Calamity Tower Wyvern, because in my mind, this is more important than the Nahalem, because this provides more value than the Nahalem in my mind, in terms of like the card economy that you're going to take away from your opponent. So I personally really valued this and the Ducat over the G2 Nahalem. But people were playing, I saw plenty of lists where people were playing this at lower quantities, and I really didn't understand why, since this is just incredible and I personally value it. Grade 1 Conroe, so that you can get your Overlords. Just make sure I'm correct, and yeah, you can choose a grade 3 from your hand or reveal it, and then you search your deck for a grade 3 with Overlord. So if you have the Heal Guardians and you mull for them, you can use this, reveal the Heal Guardian, and then you can fetch the proper grade 3 that you need. So this is actually really nice. Also, this, I ended up opening this against Nightmare Dolls, who damage denied me because they used the Counterblast for Conroe, because I ended up drawing it in my early hand. And I had this on the field, and he didn't realize that I could just, this wasn't GB, so I could kill it, and then give my Vanguard the on-swing counter charge. So because of that, he left me at 1 damage face down. I got it back, and I was able to get triple swing onto him to close out the game. But these grade 1s serve me well. I mean, like, you could take out G0 Conroe, and you could play like a 4th of this, or like mess with the grade 2s. But I was only playing 10 grade 2s, and even then, I don't like playing 10 grade 2s because I get to G-assist a couple times during the day. For triggers, these stride crits, which I'm only playing the effect crits really because it's premium and I don't have a reason to play vanillas, but maxing out in stride crits because this is incredible. I ended up top decking this in my Gears matchup because I threw away the Legion because I was scared of his turn when I really shouldn't have been, because he had 0 cards in hand and I was just afraid he was gonna like time leap me to death, but I was at 1 damage and he couldn't like 0 to 6 me at that point. 3 vanilla crits. These can be the Overdress crit that goes into Soul and gives your Vanguard 2k for turn, actually. I don't believe it's for battle. But the only argument I have for playing these 5ks is if for whatever reason I have it and I commit it as a booster for something, just so that the 5k creates a better number. But these can be replaced for anything. It doesn't really matter. It was just the fact that I wanted to play sets of the effect crits, 3 more crits for good measure, so that I have the 11. The 1 over trigger, which I'm not even going to talk about because I hit this quite a few times during the event and was a sack. And then the Hill Guardians, because this is incredible just to have, just to stop aggro, and of course I still wanted to play it at 4. Just in case I ended up healing out of my opponent's kill turns and like stealing a game. Because originally, Mustafa mentioned to me how I should play potentially 3 heals or even less, just so that I'd be able to have more offensive pressure to go all in on the kill turn. But the heals I personally valued, especially for me to use them as G-guards. Force markers, don't know why I'm showing those. The 1 quick shield, thank you Mike for this once again. Going into the G zone, I only strode like 4 times during the whole event or something like that. So the G zone is built to answer a lot of scenarios that would come up, but I never ended up really striding because I just had the pieces that I needed to. 1 purge. This can go up to like 2 if you really want to, mess with the ratios. But the only scenarios in which this purge has come up is where I have extra overlords in hand because I like drew into them or whatever. But I'm on the force 2 anyways, so I can deal them 1 damage to get quad drive or quintuple drive, just so that I can be able to potentially hit the OT and threaten them with that. Just like the damage burn to push them at 5 and then swing with this is nice. But really, I don't go into this. Let me rephrase that. I don't go into any of these. But it's cool that it's an option, but it didn't come up because having restanders was more important. The Ziegenberg is, if they don't have rear guards, then I can restand for free or anything. The Dunjid is intentionally for if I know they have a PG in their hand, or like I have the Sentinels in my grave, so that I can end up pumping this up. Because there was one game where, yeah, like round 5 against Gear Chronicle Time Leap, where he had a PG in hand and I strode this after top decking Stride Fodder, because even if he PG'd, if I went to any other Stride and he PG'd, I would have been afraid that I wouldn't be able to kill him. I couldn't even use Ziegenberg because he had more rears than I did at the time, because I had like no cards in hand. So this being a restand was important, especially with the power gain. And then once again, swinging with a force 2 makes all the restanders more threatening. 1 board wipe just in case, even though I would never go into this because killing them was more important since I'm not a good deck. This is another situational card that never came up, but it was just in case if I got to that point in the game. They're 5 damage and they're playing grade 1 PGs. Just throw this down and they can't guard with it. So this also nullifies triggers, which is incredible. But once again, it was just having an option. Same thing with the Drachma. Thanks, Evan, for letting me borrow this, but I would always flip this for cost for G units because I would never go into this. There's no reason to. For G guards, 3 chicken, 2 defeat flare, specifically for raging form. I ended up fighting against Crispy Eunice in playtesting, and I only used this to stop a raging form play, and that's it. Like, you can probably use this for like Aqua Force or something like that, or multi-attack deck, maybe dolls, like maybe. But I only did this for raging form just in case if I would have see him. One of this so that it can get beefy, but it never really came up. And then one of this G guard to target snipe back row. But once again, like, the most that I did was I just denial griffined. I didn't really do anything else. And even when I denial griffined, it's not like I was stopping something huge. It was because they weren't really extenders. It was just a G guard, so I could 1-card guard and without like throwing away more resources. But that is the deck. Huge shout out once again to everyone that showed up to the event. Thank you so much. That really means a lot to me, and that really means a lot to the team as a whole. And I'm super glad that everyone like had a good time. I was genuinely seeing people just enjoy themselves so much at the event, and that's really what I want to keep doing with these. So we're gonna plan to continue to do more events. We have more things lined up. I believe the next one is in Pennsylvania, so I'll link the Facebook page in the description below, and then please check that out for any further updates, and soon enough I'll let you guys know when we're going to do more events. So thank you very much for watching, and have a great day, everyone.